The divorce papers landed on Rachel's desk the same day she signed a deal worth $300 million. Her husband didn't know about the deal. He didn't know about a lot of things. Daniel thought she was just his quiet little wife who stayed home and painted in their penthouse while he built his empire. He thought she spent her days choosing curtains and planning dinner parties. He had no idea that the empire he was so proud of, the one he bragged about at every cocktail party, the one he used to impress his young mistress, wasn't his at all. It was hers. Rachel picked up the papers with steady hands. Her lawyer had warned her they were coming. She'd seen the signs for months. The late nights that smelled like perfume that wasn't hers. The phone calls he took in the other room. The way he looked through her at breakfast like she was a ghost in her own home. But seeing her husband's signature on the line, officially ending their 12-year marriage, still made something crack inside her chest. If you're watching this and you love stories about women who take back their power, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from. You won't want to miss what happens next. Daniel walked into her office without knocking. He never knocked. That was the thing about men like him. They believed every door should open for them, every room should welcome them, every woman should smile when they entered. "You got the papers where," he said. Not a question, a statement. He looked good. He always looked good. Tall, sharp jaw, expensive suit that hugged his shoulders just right. This was the man she'd met in college when he had nothing but dreams and student debt. This was the man she'd loved enough to risk everything for. "I got them," Rachel said. Her voice was calm, steady. She'd practiced this moment in her head 1,000 times. "Good. I assume you'll sign them quickly. I don't want this to get messy." He walked to her window, looked out at the city below like he owned it. "Sophia and I want to get married before the end of the year." Sophia. The mistress had a name, of course. She was 26, a junior associate at Daniel's law firm. Rachel had met her once at a company dinner. She'd laughed at all of Daniel's jokes, touched his arm when she talked, looked at Rachel with pity in her eyes like she was something old and used up. "You're giving me the penthouse, right?" Daniel continued. "And I'll take the house in the Hamptons. You can keep the cabin upstate. I know you like it there." Rachel turned her chair slowly to face him. "Is that what you think is going to happen?" "That's what we agreed on." He loosened his tie. He always did that when he was getting impatient. "Look, I'm being generous here. Most guys would fight for everything. But I'm letting you keep plenty. You'll be fine." "Letting me keep plenty," Rachel repeated. She felt something hot rising in her throat. Not tears, something sharper. Something that had been building for 12 years. "Of what, Daniel? What exactly are you letting me keep?" He frowned. "What are you talking about? Don't make this difficult. I'm trying to be fair." "Fair?" The word tasted like poison. "You want to talk about fair? Okay, let's talk about fair." She stood up, walked to her filing cabinet, pulled out a folder. It was thick, full of documents she'd been collecting for years. Insurance. That's what her father had called it before he died. "Always have insurance, Rachel, especially with men who think they're smarter than you." "Do you remember when we got married?" she asked. "You had just graduated law school. You had dreams of starting your own firm, but you had no money, no connections, nothing but ambition and my smile to wake up to." Daniel's frown deepened. "What does that have to do with anything?" "Everything," Rachel said quietly. "It has to do with everything." She opened the folder, spread the papers across her desk like cards in a game he didn't know he was playing. "My father gave us the money to start your firm. $2 million. Do you remember that?" "That was a gift," Daniel said. But his voice had changed. Something uncertain crept into it. "It was a loan," Rachel corrected. "With terms. Terms you signed. Terms that stated if we ever divorced, the firm and all its assets would revert to me." She pulled out the contract, the one with his signature at the bottom, young and eager and so sure of himself. Daniel stepped forward, grabbed the paper, scanned it. His face went white. "This can't be legal." "It's completely legal. Your own law degree should tell you that. You tricked me. I protected myself." Rachel's voice didn't rise. She didn't need to shout. The truth was loud enough. "And that's just the beginning." She pulled out another document. "The penthouse. Do you know who actually owns it?" Daniel said nothing. His jaw was tight now, muscle twitching under his skin. My grandmother left me a trust when I died. $15 million. I used $12 million to buy the penthouse. I put it in my name. Your name is nowhere on the deed. You've been living in my house for 8 years. Make sure you hit that like button if you're loving this. And subscribe because you need to see how this ends. Comment below and tell me what you think Daniel deserves. The house in the Hamptons, Rachel continued, pulling out another paper. I bought that too, with money from my mother's estate. The cabin upstate, also mine. The cars, mine. The vacation house in Colorado you took Sophia to last month? She looked up at him, watched the color drain from his face. Yeah, I know about that trip. And guess what? That house is mine too. Daniel's hands were shaking now. Actually shaking. The firm is worth $200 million. You can't just take it. I'm not taking anything, Daniel. I'm keeping what was always mine. Rachel walked around her desk, stood in front of him. She was shorter than him by 6 inches, but right now she felt taller. Do you want to know the worst part? The part that's going to really hurt? He didn't answer. He couldn't. Your biggest client, Richardson Industries, the one that brought in $40 million last year? I introduced you to Gerald Richardson. He was my father's college roommate. He gave you that contract as a favor to me. And last week, I had lunch with Gerald. We had a lovely conversation. He's moving his business to a different firm. My firm, actually. Your firm? Daniel's voice cracked. Did you really think I spent 12 years painting and planning dinner parties? I built my own consulting company 5 years ago. I've been operating quietly, carefully, building relationships while you were busy building your ego. She smiled, and it wasn't kind. I have 17 clients now. Fortune 500 companies, tech startups, real estate moguls. And you know what's funny? 6 of them were your clients first. They just liked working with me better. Daniel stumbled backward, hit the edge of her desk. This is insane. You can't do this. I already did it. Rachel crossed her arms. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign a new settlement. You get nothing, not the firm, not the houses, not the cars, nothing. You'll leave with exactly what you brought into this marriage. Your law degree and your audacity. I'll fight this. I'll take you to court. Please do. Rachel's smile widened. I have the best lawyers in the city. Actually, they used to be your lawyers, but they work for me now. Turns out, when you're rude to your assistants and paralegals, when you make them work overtime without appreciation, when you treat them like they're beneath you, they remember. And when someone offers them better pay and actual respect, they switch sides pretty quickly. Daniel's face went from white to red. You vindictive. Careful, Rachel interrupted. Choose your next words very carefully, because I'm recording this conversation. She pointed to the small device on her desk. And if you threaten me, if you say anything that could be construed as harassment or intimidation, I will bury you. Not just financially, professionally, socially, completely. The fight went out of him. She could see it happen. His shoulders slumped. His eyes went dull. He looked like a balloon with all the air leaking out. Why, he whispered, if you had all this, if you were building all of this, why did you stay with me? Because I loved you, Rachel said simply. I really did. I thought we were building something together. I thought you saw me as a partner, not just a pretty face to come home to. I thought eventually you'd realize that I was more than what you decided I was. She walked back to her chair, sat down, suddenly tired. But you never saw me, Daniel. Not really. You saw what you wanted to see. The quiet wife, the supportive partner, the woman who made you look good at parties. You never asked what I did all day. You never asked about my dreams, my plans, my work. You just assumed I was waiting for you to come home and tell me about your important day. Rachel, I gave you 12 years, she continued. 12 years of chances to see me, to really see me. And instead, you saw Sophia, a 26-year-old girl who laughs at your jokes and thinks you're impressive because she doesn't know any better yet. Daniel opened his mouth, closed it. What could he say? What was there to say? The papers are on the desk, Rachel said quietly. The real ones. The ones that tell the truth about who owns what. Sign them. Move out of my penthouse by Friday. And Daniel? She looked up at him one last time. Tell Sophia I said congratulations. She's getting exactly what she deserves. A man with nothing but his ego and a law degree he won't be able to use once I'm done making sure every major client in the city knows what kind of person he really is. Subscribe right now if you want more stories like this. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what you would do in Rachel's position. This story isn't over yet. Daniel left without signing. Rachel knew he would. Men like him always needed time to process their fall from grace. They needed to rage and deny and bargain before they finally accepted reality. She gave him 3 days. On the first day, he called her 17 times. She didn't answer. On the second day, he showed up at the penthouse. She had the locks changed and security waiting. They escorted him out politely but firmly. On the third day, he sent Sophia to talk to her. That was a mistake. Sophia arrived at Rachel's office wearing a designer dress that Rachel recognized. She'd bought it last year, left it in the closet with the tag still on. It looked different on Sophia, tighter, younger, desperate. He's devastated, Sophia said. She had the kind of beauty that came from being 26 and not yet disappointed by life. You're destroying him. I'm taking what's mine, Rachel replied. She didn't invite Sophia to sit down. He loves me. We're going to build a life together. With what money? Sophia blinked. He's a successful lawyer. He was a successful lawyer in my firm, using my connections, my clients, my resources. Rachel leaned back in her chair. Tell me something, Sophia. Did he ever tell you how he started his firm? He built it from nothing. He worked day and night. He built it with my father's money, $2 million that he promised to pay back. He never did, by the way. And every major client he ever landed came through me. Every single one. Sophia's perfect face crumpled a little. You're lying. Why would I lie? I have nothing to prove to you. Rachel pulled out her phone, scrolled through some photos. Here, this is from the opening party of his firm. See that man next to Daniel? That's my father. See that building behind them? I own it. The firm rents from me, has been for 10 years. She swiped to another photo. This is from the Richardson Industries deal signing. See me in the background? I arranged that meeting. I made the introduction. I convinced Gerald to take a chance on a small firm. Another photo. This is from last year's holiday party. See all those people? Half of them work for me now. Sophia's hands were shaking. He said you were just a housewife. And you believed him. Rachel put her phone down. That's the thing about men like Daniel. They need to feel bigger than they are, so they make the women around them smaller. He needed me to be just a housewife so he could feel like a self-made man. He needs you to be young and impressed so he can feel powerful and desirable. That's not true. Then where did he get the money for that bracelet you're wearing? Rachel pointed to the diamond tennis bracelet on Sophia's wrist. Because 3 weeks ago, his personal account had $1,200 in it. I know because I still get statements from our joint accounts, at least for another few days. Sophia looked at the bracelet like it had burned her. He said he'd been saving. He stole it from the firm. Actually, he stole it from my firm. That's embezzlement, by the way. I could press charges if I wanted to. The younger woman stood up abruptly. You're cruel. I'm honest, Rachel corrected. There's a difference. Cruel would be letting you marry him without knowing the truth. Cruel would be watching you waste your 20s on a man who's about to lose everything. I'm actually doing you a favor. Some favor. You're 26, Sophia. You're beautiful. You're smart enough to graduate law school and pass the bar. You could have any life you want. Why are you choosing this one? A life built on lies and other people's marriages? For a moment, just a moment, something real flickered across Sophia's face. Doubt, fear, the beginning of understanding. He loves me, she said again, but it sounded less certain now. Maybe he does, in his way. But love from a man like Daniel is expensive. It'll cost you everything, and when it's over, you'll have nothing to show for it but regrets and a few pretty things he bought with someone else's money. Sophia left without another word. Rachel watched her go and felt something unexpected. Not victory, not satisfaction, just sadness. For herself, for Daniel, even for Sophia, for all the ways people hurt each other while calling it love. If you're still watching, you're amazing. Make sure you're subscribed because the biggest twist is coming. Drop a like and comment what city you're watching from. Let's build this community together. Daniel signed the papers on Friday. He had no choice. His lawyers had reviewed everything and told him the truth he didn't want to hear. He had no legal ground to stand on. Every asset he thought was his belonged to Rachel. Every client he thought was loyal would follow her. Every bit of power he thought he'd built was borrowed. Rachel was in her office when the signed documents arrived. She held them for a long moment, feeling the weight of 12 years in her hands. 12 years of being invisible, of being underestimated, of being loved for what she pretended to be instead of who she really was. Her assistant knocked on the door. "There's someone here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's important." "Who is it?" "She says her name is Victoria. She's Daniel's mother." Rachel hadn't seen her mother-in-law in 2 years. Not since the Christmas dinner where Victoria had asked, in front of the entire family, when Rachel was going to give her grandchildren, as if Rachel's only purpose was to produce heirs for the family name. Victoria entered the office like she entered every room, as if she owned it. She was 73 and sharp as broken glass. Her jewelry probably cost more than most people's houses. Her disapproval could freeze water. "You've made quite a mess," Victoria said, sitting down without being invited. "I've cleaned up a mess," Rachel corrected. "There's a difference. My son is destroyed." "Your son destroyed himself." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "He made a mistake. Men do. You're taking this too far." "He didn't make a mistake. He made a choice. Multiple choices. For months." Rachel met the older woman's gaze without flinching. "And I'm not taking anything too far. I'm taking what's mine." "You're being vindictive. I'm being fair, finally." "I never liked you," Victoria said suddenly. "I never thought you were good enough for my son." "I know. He could have married anyone. Beautiful women, successful women, women from good families. Women you approved of," Rachel interrupted. "Women who would have done what you told them, been what you wanted them to be." Victoria's lips thinned. "At least they would have known their place." "My place?" Rachel leaned forward. "Let me tell you about my place, Victoria. My place is sitting in this office in a building I own. My place is running a company worth $500 million. My place is managing investments and making decisions that affect hundreds of people's lives. My place is wherever I decide it is. You'll regret this. My son will recover. He'll rebuild, and you'll be alone." "Maybe," Rachel agreed, "but I'll be alone with my freedom, my money, and my self-respect." "What will Daniel have?" Victoria stood up, smoothed her skirt. "You've changed." "No," Rachel said quietly. "I just stopped pretending to be smaller than I am." The older woman paused at the door. "He did love you, you know, in his way. His way wasn't enough." After Victoria left, Rachel sat in the silence of her office. Outside her window, the city glittered with evening lights. Somewhere out there, Daniel was packing his things from her penthouse. Somewhere, Sophia was probably realizing what kind of man she'd won. Somewhere, life was continuing, indifferent to their private drama. Rachel's phone buzzed. A text from her business partner, Janet. "Richardson deal closed. Congratulations. Drinks tonight?" Rachel smiled. A real smile this time, not the careful one she'd worn for 12 years. "Yes, champagne." She stood up, gathered her things, took one last look at the divorce papers. In the end, they were just paper, just signatures and legal terms, and the official end of something that had died long before anyone signed anything. The real divorce had happened slowly, over years. Every time Daniel forgot to ask about her day. Every time he introduced her as just my wife. Every time he made decisions without her, spent money without asking, lived his life as if she was just scenery in it. Every time he chose not to see her. That was the real betrayal. Not Sophia, not the affair. The affair was just the final act of a long, slow disappearing. Daniel had been erasing her for years. He just didn't realize she'd been building herself back up the entire time, stronger and clearer and more solid than she'd ever been. Make sure you're subscribed, because stories like this are what we do here. Hit that like button if Rachel inspired you. And comment below, Tell me what you think happens next. 3 months later, Rachel was in her office when Janet burst in, laptop in hand. You need to see this. It was an article in the business section. Former top lawyer files for bankruptcy. Daniel Stewart's fall from grace. Rachel read it slowly. Daniel had tried to start over. He'd borrowed money from friends, opened a small practice, taken on a few clients. But without connections, without the reputation Rachel had built for him, he couldn't compete. His clients went elsewhere. His debts piled up. His pride kept him from accepting help until it was too late. The article mentioned Sophia. She'd left him 2 months ago, moved to California, gotten engaged to a tech entrepreneur. There was a quote from her about finding real love and learning what matters. Do you feel bad? Janet asked. Rachel thought about it. Really thought about it. No, she said finally. I feel free. And she did. For the first time in 12 years, she felt like herself. Not someone's wife, not someone's disappointment, not someone's secret. Just Rachel, successful, powerful, alone but not lonely, rich in all the ways that mattered. Her phone rang, unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello, Rachel, it's Daniel. His voice was different, smaller, tired. What do you want? I wanted to say I'm sorry for everything, for not seeing you, for taking you for granted, for being too stupid and selfish to realize what I had. Rachel said nothing. You were right, he continued, about all of it. I built my life on your foundation and convinced myself I'd done it alone. I treated you like you were nothing when you were everything. And I lost it all because I couldn't see what was right in front of me. Why are you calling me, Daniel? Because I wanted you to know. Because you deserve to hear it. Because maybe if I say it out loud, I'll actually learn something from this. He laughed, bitter and broken. Probably not, but maybe. I hope you figure it out, Rachel said. And she meant it. Not because she forgave him, not because she wanted him back, but because holding on to anger was just another way of letting him take up space in her life, and she was done with that. Goodbye, Daniel. Goodbye, Rachel. She hung up, deleted the number, turned back to her work. That night, Rachel went to the penthouse, her penthouse. She poured herself a glass of wine, stood at the window looking out at the city she'd conquered quietly, steadily, while everyone was looking elsewhere. Her phone buzzed. A message from her team. Another deal closed. Another victory. Another step forward. She raised her glass to her reflection in the window, to the woman she'd always been but had finally stopped hiding, to the life she'd built in secret and could now live out loud, to freedom, to power, to finally being seen. Not by Daniel, not by anyone else, by herself. And that, it turned out, was enough. 6 months after the divorce, Rachel's company went public. The stock opened at $42 a share and climbed to $68 by the end of the first day. She rang the opening bell at the stock exchange, stood for photos, gave interviews where reporters called her an overnight success. She didn't correct them, let them think what they wanted. She knew the truth. Success wasn't overnight. It was 12 years of quiet work. 12 years of building while everyone assumed she was doing nothing. 12 years of being underestimated, which turned out to be the greatest advantage of all. When people don't expect anything from you, they don't watch what you're doing. They don't see you building. They don't notice until it's too late, until you're standing on top of everything they thought was theirs, smiling down at them. Rachel hired 3 new employees that month. All women, all brilliant, all underestimated by their previous bosses. She understood now. Her story wasn't unique. Everywhere, women were building empires in the shadows of men who thought they were in charge. Everywhere, women were being called just something. Just a wife, just an assistant, just a secretary, just a support system. And everywhere, those women were collecting evidence, making connections, building power, waiting for the moment when they could step into the light and show the world what they'd really been doing all along. Before we end, I need you to do 3 things. First, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Second, smash that like button because this story needs to reach more people. And third, comment below and tell me where you're watching from and what part of Rachel's story hit you hardest. Your engagement helps this channel grow, and I've got so many more stories to share with you. The last time Rachel saw Daniel was at a charity gala 2 years after the divorce. She was there as a keynote speaker, sharing her story of building a successful company. He was there as someone's plus one, looking older and smaller in a suit that didn't fit quite right anymore. Their eyes met across the room. He nodded. She nodded back. And that was it. No drama, no confrontation, no lingering feelings. Just two people who used to be married, acknowledging each other's existence and moving on. Rachel's date for the evening was a professor of economics she'd met at a conference. He was kind and funny and asked her questions about her work because he was genuinely interested in the answers. He didn't try to explain her own business to her. He didn't interrupt. He listened. It was such a small thing. Being listened to, being heard. But after 12 years of silence, it felt like everything. "You okay?" he asked, noticing her looking across the room. "Yeah," Rachel said. "I really am." And she was. The anger had faded. The hurt had healed. What remained was something stronger than both. Self-knowledge, self-respect, the absolute certainty that she would never again make herself smaller for someone else's comfort. She learned the lesson Daniel had tried to teach her without meaning to. Your value isn't determined by who sees it. Your power isn't given by who acknowledges it. You are who you are, regardless of who's paying attention. Daniel had thought he was the star of their story. He'd thought Rachel was just a supporting character, there to make him look good, to hold his things while he shined. He'd been wrong. She was the star. She'd always been the star. She'd just been waiting for the right moment to step into the spotlight. And when she did, when she finally stopped hiding and let the world see what she'd built, what she was capable of, what she'd been all along, it was glorious. Not because she destroyed Daniel. That was just a side effect, but because she freed herself. And in the end, that's what the story was really about. Not revenge, not even justice. Just a woman deciding she was done being invisible, done being underestimated, done being just anything. Rachel took the stage that night and told her story. Not all of it, not the painful parts, just the parts about building something from nothing, about quiet work and long-term vision, about believing in yourself when no one else does. The audience gave her a standing ovation. Cameras flashed. People lined up afterward to shake her hand, to ask for advice, to tell her she was an inspiration. And somewhere in the back of the room, Daniel watched his ex-wife shine like the sun he'd never bothered to look directly at until it was too late, until he'd already burned, until there was nothing left to do but accept that some mistakes you don't recover from. You just learn to live with what they cost you. Rachel went home that night to her penthouse, her space, her life. She took off her heels, poured herself wine, and stood at the window looking out at the city she'd conquered. Her phone buzzed. Messages from colleagues congratulating her on the speech, requests for interviews, investment opportunities, speaking engagements. She scrolled through them all, smiling. This was her life now. Busy, complicated, challenging. Hers. The woman who'd signed those divorce papers 3 years ago felt like a stranger. That Rachel had been scared, hurt, uncertain about what came next. This Rachel knew exactly what came next. More work, more success, more becoming, more of everything she'd denied herself while she was busy being what someone else needed. She raised her glass to the window, to her reflection, to the city, to the future. "Here's to being underestimated," she whispered. "May I never have to pretend to be less than I am ever again." And the city, glittering and infinite below her, seemed to sparkle in agreement. Thank you so much for watching this story all the way to the end. If you loved Rachel's journey, you need to subscribe right now because I post stories like this regularly. Hit that like button, it really helps the channel. And drop a comment below telling me what you think Rachel should do next. Should she find love again? Should she keep building her empire? Let me know what you want to see. I read every single comment. Until next time, remember, you are never just anything. You are everything you decide to be.